for this afternoon. So we have a couple of people who are watching us online, as other people who are participating and will be joining us but are not here with us. So we'll start us off with the national anthem. We'll have a couple of volunteers who've decided to sing for us. We'll also have the East African national anthem, and then we'll follow up with the key welcome address after that. So if we could kindly be upstanding and start us off with the national anthem, please. And to the beautiful volunteers who decided to sing for us, kindly come forward. We'll be singing only the first stanza in English. You can use this.
Okay, in reverence, let's all sing the national anthem in English, the first stanza. O God of all creation, bless this our land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. We'll play the East African.
Tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much. So we're gathered here this afternoon for our Youth Civic Tech Hackathon and Intergenerational Dialogue for Democratic Renewal in Kenya. And to start us off this afternoon, what we'd like to do is like to have the Executive Director from Nuru Trust, Mary Yvonne Ododa, to come through and give us the welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, you ready? I can see you smiling already. Quickly introducing the teams. We've got, starting from number 1, Team Alpha. Number 2, we go to Team Kweli, Team Sifa, and Team Ubuntu. I've noticed some teams seem to have more members than others, but we assume that wako kwa jamu wanakam, sindio? Aye, so before Mary comes through, it is traditional for us to always open up our deliberations with a word of prayer. So if you could kindly have Faith from Nuru Trust to kindly come and give us a few words of prayer. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for putting us together today. May you bless this event, its organizers, and all participants. May all our discussions, ideas, and creativity build unity, wisdom, and may your presence lead us from the beginning to the end of this event. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Faith. Now, if you could kindly have a round of applause for Mary Yvonne Ododa as she comes through to give us the welcome address.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon one more time. It's so lovely to hear all your voices, and I'd like to welcome all of you, our distinguished guests, our colleagues, our partners, and our friends. It is my honor to welcome you today as we celebrate democracy, and not as a single moment in time, but as a living practice, one that requires our constant commitment. In Swahili we say, umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Unity is strength, division is weakness. I had to Google that, guys. This in many ways captures the essence of democracy in our African context. It is not just about ballots and institutions, and today we're going to see that. It is about coming together as a people, listening to every voice and shaping our shared future. That spirit is what has guided us to gather here today. This event is more than a commemoration. It is a space for innovation, dialogue, and action. Over the past days, young innovators have worked as problem solvers, tackling challenges in governance, inclusion, and civic engagement. What began as a hackathon has become a lab of ideas with potential to scale into real-world impact. I cannot wait for all of you to see what they're presenting. These prototypes are more than concepts, and with the right investment and mentorship, they can grow into tools that strengthen democracy across communities, not only in Kenya, but across Africa. Allow me to introduce our teams for today. Can we hear it for Team Alpha, who has Karaoke, Michelle, Mange, and Macharia? Please wave, guys. That's Team Alpha right there. Our next team is Team Kweli with Yvonne, John, Bossibori, and Kelvin. Then we have Team Sifa with Ashley, Trevor, Sean, and Regan, right at the corner. Team Ubantu with Damien, Mwangi, Mwesige, and Julian. Thank you. And can you have Team Votewise with Abraham, Joy, Zane, and Sam? Ladies and gentlemen, beyond the hackathon, we'll also engage in panel discussion on civic inclusion and intergenerational dialogue, conversations that bridge wisdom with fresh ideas and experience with innovation. More importantly, these conversations are a call to action. To our colleagues joining us online from around the world, we warmly welcome you. Your participation makes this a global conversation, and we hope that these exchanges continue long after today. This event will not have been possible without our partner, the Global Democracy Coalition, whose vision and support have been central in bringing us together. We are also deeply grateful to all our panelists who have generously given their time today. And we are honored to hear from Mr. Richard Muteti, the CEO for the Confederation of Micro and Small Enterprises Organization East Africa. Can you have a round of applause for him, please? We have Ms. Immaculate Moit joining us online, the Executive Director of WETEC Kenya. And Mr. David Momanyi, who will be joining us. He's the Executive Director of the Horn of Africa Youth Network. We have Ms. Diana Ouma, the Executive Director for Youth for SDGs Kenya. And Ms. Claudia Massa, who is a governance, peace, and security expert at COMESA, who's joining us from Malawi today, who are actually heading to the polls. So it will really be good to hear from the ground as well. Yes, we can have a round of applause for Claudia. I'd also like to recognize Ms. Elisenda, who will be speaking shortly after me, who's the GDC Coalition Coordinator joining us from Sweden. Can I have a round of applause for Elisenda, please? And last, but certainly not least, I am so delighted to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Charles Wambia, the CEO of the Kenya National Heroes Council, who's here with us today. And to all our guests who are seated here with us, on behalf of my chair, the board, staff, and volunteers at Nuru Trust Network, we are truly grateful for your presence and to your commitment to committing to shaping the future of democracy alongside our young innovators today. And as we begin, let us carry with us the words of Kofi Annan. No one is born a good citizen. No nation is born a democracy. Rather, both are processes that continue to evolve over a lifetime. I leave you with a question to ponder this afternoon. How can we transform the creativity of young people into sustainable programs that deliver measurable change? And with that spirit, I warmly welcome you to Code for Democracy. May it inspire us to act boldly, think inclusively, and strengthen the promise of democracy for generations to come. Thank you.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mary. So our next speaker for this afternoon Representing the partners is Elisenda Buxo. Let's give her a big round of applause as they come through, please. Now, just quickly giving you some house rules as we wait for our next speaker to come through. For those who would like to attend to matters of nature calls, the bathrooms are to the right. If you ask Faith, who is outside, you'll be able to find out exactly where the bathrooms are. If you could, one more time, give it up for Elisenda Buxo, who is from Global Democracy Coalition Coordinator. Kindly come up and give us the partner remarks. Okay, seeing they're not in the room with us right now, I'd like to call upon a gentleman who I hold in deep regards. Online, eh? Okay, so let's kindly look at the screens. Remember, you can follow us live and share the word for those who would like to join us and follow the deliberations for this afternoon. So if you could look at the screens, please.
I will start. I hope that all you can hear me. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a real honor to be here with you today for Code for Democracy, a youth civic tech hackathon and intergenerational dialogue for democratic renewal in Kenya. My name is Elisenda Balleste, and I am really delighted to speak on behalf of the Global Democracy Coalition. The Global Democracy Coalition is a network of more than 150 organizations from every region of the world, civil society organizations, think tanks, academic institutions, youth movements, and international organizations. Together, we work to advance democracy globally by connecting local initiatives with global conversations and by ensuring that voices from every corner of the world are heard. We do believe that democracy is stronger when it's not just discussed in capitals or at summit at very high level, but when it is lived in communities, when citizens take ownership, and when young people are leading the way. This event is a perfect example of what the coalition stands for, and we are so pleased to be working with our partner Nuru Trust Network, whose vision and energy have been central to bringing us together. I want to thank you so much, Nuru Trust, for this event. Partnerships like this between local organizations, youth innovators, and global platforms are what give democracy resilience and meaning. We are also commemorating, as you know, International Democracy Day. Every year, this day is a reminder not to take democracy for granted. Around the world, we see democratic institutions under pressure. We see civic space shrinking and defenders of democracy facing more and more risks. And yet, we also see communities resisting, young people mobilizing, and citizens demanding their voices to be heard. The fact that we are here today, that you're there in Kenya with young innovators ready to design new tools for participation, is proof that democracy is alive and that it will remain alive if we continue to nurture it together. What inspires me the most about today's event is the focus on youth innovation. Around the world, young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow. I've said this 1,000 times. They are the leaders of today. They are coding, designing, campaigning, and organizing in ways that are reshaping how we think about politics and about participation. Civic tech, in particular, is a field where youth are showing breathtaking creativity, from apps that track government accountability to platforms that connect communities to digital campaigns, that amplify the marginalized voices. What you are building here today is not just about technology. It's about democracy itself, about finding new ways to ensure that citizens are informed, engaged, and empowered. The hackathon format reflects something very democratic in itself. It reflects collaboration, iteration, and openness to new ideas. You will test, you will fail, you will improve, and you will succeed together. That is exactly how democracy works as well. not as a perfect system, but as one that grows stronger when people come together to solve the problems. I also want to emphasize the intergenerational dialogue component of today. It is important that we do not see democracy as a generational divide, where youth are on one side and the older generations are on the other. Instead, democracy thrives when generations are in conversation, when wisdom and experience meet creativity and boldness. Today's dialogue offers a chance to bridge that gap, to ensure that young innovators are heard by policymakers and that policymakers are inspired by the energy of youth. To all the young participants here, your voices matter, your innovations matter. You are showing us what the future of democracy can look like. And to all the mentors, partners, and guests, your support matters too. By being here, you are validating the importance of this space and you're helping create the platforms that youth need to thrive. So as we begin this event today, let us remember that democratic renewal is not a single conversation or a one-day hackathon. It is an ongoing commitment to listen, to learn, to innovate, and to defend the values that allow all of us to live in dignity and freedom. So on behalf of the Global Democracy Coalition, I want to thank once again the Nuru Trust Network for their partnership. Thank you all for your presence, and most of all, thank the youth participants for showing us that democracy has a future because you are shaping it. So let us be inspired today. Let us collaborate, let us innovate, and let us leave here not only with tools, but also the renewed commitment to keeping democracy alive and strong for the generations to come. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Let's hear a big round of applause. What I'd like us to do right now is for those of us who are on social media, we have to put the word out about what we're doing. We have to shout about every gain that we make in life. So what I'd like us to do is, for those on social media, if you're on X, that was Twitter, Facebook, on Instagram, first follow the Nuru Trust Network on the different social media platforms. If you're going to be tweeting about anything that is happening here today, let's use a unified voice. Let's use one hashtag that is Code for Democracy. And then we have IDD 2025 International Democracy Day and hashtag Youth Innovation. If we use 3 or 4 of these hashtags, we should be trending by the time we're finishing later on this evening. So right now I'd like to call our next speaker who's going to be delivering the keynote address. He's a gentleman I hold in deep regard, a mentor, a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Dr. Charles Wambia, OGW, Director General for National Heroes Council of Kenya. Makofi yake tafadhali.
You know, I'm not a youth, so I go slowly. Okay? I have to prepare myself pole pole. Amjambo. Good afternoon. I think it's a privilege just to stand in front of the youth to speak on a very delicate and very valuable topic, democracy. And we've listened from the speakers who have spoken. And I felt that I was very much touched with the language which has been put across. Democracy is a big thing. But I want, for those who are in Kenya and the youth, to be very much happy about one thing before I start on my speech. Our Constitution. I'll begin from out of my speech to say that our Constitution speak what you people want to discuss today. It is a constitution with a lot of diversity, a lot of involvement, and I believe it doesn't leave aside the issues which can give us the right democracy. Allow me to, before I get to my speech, to recognize the Office of the President Advisors on Women Rights. Secondly, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, the ABSA Fraternity, and the Netherlands Institute of Multiparty Democracy. I think these are key partners who are also taking very key informative position as today we talk about the Code for Democracy. And all of you who have come, I believe it's a very important time that you start speaking from a point of reference through the Code of Democracy. As you have been informed, I come from the Institute, from the Kenya National Heroes Council, and I wanted to mention that Nuru Trust is part of the National Heroes Council because we are having engagement in terms of partnership. With those remarks, allow me to go through my prepared speech so that I don't go overboard. Sometimes when you speak without a speech, you'll take in to speak more than the time allowed, but speech controls you. Distinguished guests, esteemed partners, brilliant young innovators, ladies and gentlemen, looking around this room, I see a generation ready to not just to inherit democracy, but to reinvent it. And that is why this gathering is so important. Democracy, like technology, is never static. It involves, and here in Kenya, it is renewed daily by the energy, resilience, and ingenuity of our people, of our young people. In a biblical view of democracy, Galatians 3:28 reminds us, in Christ, there is neither a Jew nor a Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one. Democracy reflects this truth by giving every citizen a voice, regardless of gender, status, or background. Democracy is not only a Western idea, but it is also connects with African and other traditional cultural values. For instance, in many African communities, elders sat under a tree to discuss important issues until they reached consensus. Everyone has had the chance to speak, and wisdom guided decisions. As we mark the International Democracy Day, let us first recognize the invaluable support for our partners, the Global Democracy Coalition, and the steadfast commitment of our government institutions that continue to champion civic participation, transparency, and innovation. The collaboration reflects a timeless truth that democracy is strongest when it is built together. Kenya is a youthful nation. Over 60% of our people are under 35 years of age. That is not a challenge, but an opportunity. This demographic dividend means that innovations shaping our democracy must be forged with and by young people. Their creativity, their determination are essential for trust, accountability, and resilient institutions. This is the spirit of Code for Democracy. This is the hackathon is not about technology for its own sake, but about building tools that expand access to information, combat disinformation, and ensure no voice is left unheard, whether that is a young woman in a rural county or a youth living with disability or a historically excluded community. Yes, democracy may sometimes move deliberately while technology races ahead. But when these two forces come together, and when civic participation meets digital innovation, the outcome is transformative. We create systems that are more inclusive, more transparent, and more responsive to the needs of citizens. Let me emphasize this. The ideas born in this room will not remain on paper. They will be piloted, tested, and supported through partnerships with county governments, grassroots organizations, and the private sector. In this way, they demonstrate that youth innovation is not simply a promise for tomorrow. It is a contribution for today. To the young people in this room, your voices matter, your solutions matter, and your government is listening. You are democracy's present, not just its future. Democracy is not gifted, handed down. It is responsibility we share, built by sacrifices of past heroes and renewed now by you. You are new heroes of this journey. So I challenge all of us, policymakers, civil society, and partners, to go beyond applause and commit to scaling these solutions. And I challenge you, our young innovators, to lead boldly. Together across generations, we will not only safeguard democracy, we will reimagine it, strengthen it, and make it more inclusive than ever before. As I close, I make a call on my remarks to the youth. Dear young people, democracy is not just about voting every 5 years. It's about living responsibly every day. Speak the truth even when it is hard. Ephesians 4:25. Speak one another, respect one another, regardless of tribe, gender, or background. Stand against corruption because it steals from the poor and destroys justice. Finally, use your energy, creativity, and voice to build peace and unity. I therefore say, democracy is both biblical because it reflects equality, justice, and accountability. And it is cultural because our traditions valued dialogue and inclusiveness. As youth, you are the guardians of this precious gift. Thank you so much, and I wish you a very, very good deliberations. Asanteni.
Thank you very much. Once more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Charles Wambia. We will now take a few minutes to watch a video from our partners before we go into the group photo session. So what we will do, I will start off with the group photos. As we're getting to find, sometimes technology does not cooperate with you as well as you'd like. So as we arranged to have the photo, it will be taken in the front here. So we're going to have a few seats that will be put up for us to sit on. So if you could kindly just facilitate that. But it's actually an interesting thing, because if you look at how democracy has changed over the years, now we are having a hackathon. 30, 40 years ago, we didn't even have the computers to hack. Every generation comes up with what they can do towards achieving what they believe is democracy. There was a time when we had to take to the streets to achieve what we are enjoying now. So the democracy that we see ourselves experiencing and living today is because of efforts of those who came before us, our predecessors who worked equally as hard. So I take pride to see a younger group of democracy fighters, people who are trying to achieve democracy in the way they know best. So kudos to every single one of you and all the rest as we do this. So I can see our seats are ready. The presentation is halfway done. If you could kindly follow the lead from Mary. She'll be coming around letting us know exactly who will be sitting where. For those of us who are still watching as everything's happening, remember, let's remind our friends and everybody online on what we are doing here today. Put out a tweet, put out a message on social media, share the link for the YouTube page where everybody could follow us and follow the live deliberations. We need every single person out there to know what we are doing here and what we are achieving. So, as we said earlier on, remember the hashtags. So remember the hashtags: Code for Democracy, IDD 2025, International Democracy Day, and Youth Innovation. After we've done with this particular photo, would like every single one of us to stand behind our seated guests and be part of the greater group photo. What we're trying to do is make sure that we'll start off with the participants, and then from the participants we'll now move to all the guests in the room. Hackathon participants, if you could kindly take two behind the invited guests. Those gifted with height can stand behind those of us who got those limited resources. Hey, lakini, why are people being a bit, you're smiling on a budget. Let's see you smile, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, these photos are going to be forever entrenched in the books of history. One more time, let's smile. And let's say democracy. I know that democracy, apana. Yay. One more time, let's say democracy. Democracy. Thank you very much. Photographers, do we have enough? Do you want one more photo? One of smiling. Better smiles. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's say democracy. Democracy. So thank you very much. I think our video is ready. So what we'll do is, as soon as everybody is seated, thank you guests, you can now return to your seats. It's interesting to note that in Kenya, democracy is not just a system, it's actually a journey. And today we are here together taking this journey. Okay, the partner video is ready, so if you could have some silence, we could continue.
Through one of the most hostile moments for democracy in over 50 years. A global backlash against civil society, fueled by narratives, rejecting the core values of democratic life. A wave of disinformation and false content, now accelerated by artificial intelligence. The spread of authoritarian policies, dismantling democratic institutions from within. And still knowing these threats, we choose to ask the question. We choose to make this call. Why? Because democracy remains humanity's greatest collective achievement. It has delivered the most progress, the most equality, the most freedom. It's how we defend rights, build trust, and move forward together. But to keep it alive, we need more than belief. We need presence, participation, and courage. We need to stand for it. But not just when it's easy, when it's at risk. This International Day of Democracy is not just a celebration, it's an invitation. An invitation to raise our voices, to rebuild what's been weakened, to bring in every voice that's been left out. Because democracy doesn't survive on its own, it survives when people show up for it. This is our moment. Let's keep democracy alive and make its presence undeniable.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready for the team presentations. So we'll start off with the first team, that is Team Alpha, and we'll have Karis come up to the podium, introduce his team, and tell us a bit more about their team effort. So ladies and gentlemen, makofi yake tafadhali as he comes through to the stage. Now I'm looking at the other teams not clapping. You're forgetting you're going to come to the same stage. Now I'm seeing smiles and claps. So karibu Kariuki, and all the best.
Good afternoon. I am Kariuki. I'm from Team Alpha. The team members are Mainge Kinuthia, Masharia Eric, and Michelle Nyanduko. So I'm here to introduce to you Ukweli Dial, a simple but powerful USSD platform that fights misinformation during elections. Misinformation spreads faster than truth, especially in rural areas where internet penetration is low. This threatens democracy, trust, and peaceful participation. Today, many citizens rely on word of mouth or WhatsApp forwards for political updates. False claims like rumors about voting days, results manipulation, or fake candidate withdrawals can discourage voter participation or even trigger unrest. And the most affected are citizens without smartphones or social media access, exactly the people who need reliable information most. So what is Ukweli Dial? It's an intergenerational misinformation and fact-checking network which bridges the digital divide to fight disinformation. We connect everyone, regardless of their technology, to a centralized hub of verified information, combining low-tech accessibility with high-impact design. So how does it work? Any Kenyan can dial a simple USSD code, no smartphones or internet needed. Citizens report rumors they hear in their communities. These reports go straight into a secure database, visible instantly to our moderators through our Django admin. Fact checkers then verify the rumors and publish truthful responses. Citizens can dial back into the same code to receive verified facts directly. Let's see a simulation. So you just dial your short code. And you'll be welcomed to our Ukweli Dial menu. Here, citizens can report misinformation, hate speech, and the rest. Let's try one. Wanahesabu mbili. Now, when you send your report, our human moderators will receive your report where they can fact check it. Fact check it to make sure the information is true and send you a message back. So you might ask what problem we're solving. It's democratic because it empowers every citizen to participate in fighting misinformation. It strengthens accountability because moderators respond with verified checks. And it builds trust in elections by giving people truth at their fingertips. In Kenya, only 48% of the population has access to the internet. So what do we do with the rest of the half of the population? Ukweli Dial is your answer. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's give it up for Team Alpha. Now, coming up next is our second team for the afternoon. We've got Team Vote Wise. The team has decided to do it in pure teamwork and show you that this is not just a one-man team, this is an operation that has been run by an entire team. One more time as they come up, let's give them a big round of applause.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. This is Team VoteWise. I'm the team lead. My name is Abraham Mugwe. I'll give you a summary of the question we were given, which was the question that we were told is, how can we make voter education inclusive and appealing to young people who are the future of the country, as we've just talked about it. So I will allow my team member, Joy Njeri, to elaborate more on our application.
Good afternoon, everyone. And so here we begin. In Kenya, young people make about 60, if not over, of the population in Kenya. This makes them the largest voting bloc and ultimately the ones who choose who take power in the next election. And so with the rise of protests and demonstrations that have been happening in our own country, it's clear that youths are more fired up to show up and make their voices heard at the ballot. But here's the problem. Many don't fully know why they vote, how I should vote. What is the essential part of me being there? What if I let other people? But really, also how inclusive is this for people who are disadvantaged from this information? That's where VoteWise comes in. And it's not another boring pamphlet or lecture for hours. It's a gamified experience that makes civic learning simple, attractive, and interactively fun. Think quick flashcards, short challenges and quizzes that take less than 5 minutes. Perfect for a bus ride to school, perfect for a bus ride to work, waiting for coffee, waiting in line for anything, or a quick short break. And so I'll let my teammates show you what it's about.
Thank you. So my name is Zain. I'm part of Team VoteWise, and we can move to Figma. So we got together and merged our idea where we did our research and then came up with designs, and we used Figma where we came up with the different designs, and that's how we were able to now move to our web application. So once you get to the landing page, we can see the different things that the website entails. And as we scroll down, we also decided to include some of our visually impaired users. So we have a text-to-speech so that they're able to, once you click, they're able to hear what the page entails. And also at the bottom, we have our resources where we can fact-check the data that we got. Yeah, so we can move to login. So this is where users, just click. So this is where users create, and this is also the data that we'll be collecting from them. And at the bottom, we have created a privacy policy where we describe to the users what data we collect from them. So yeah, we can sign in. So once we have logged in, this is the landing page where we can see the different systems. We have the point system, the ranks, the badges you earn, the modules that we have, and also the same. So we can start learning. And this is one of the modules that we have created, where we have 3 learning flashcards and also 3 quizzes right after. We can start learning. So we have the different questions with the different answers that will help you learn about the democracy in Kenya. And once you finish the flashcards, you're greeted with questions where we answer. And when you get the wrong answer, it also prompts you. If you get the right answer, it tells you that you've gotten the right answer. So you also can't finish a module until you have answered all the questions correctly. So yeah, that's how we have answered the questions, and also how to teach the youth on how to learn about democracy. Thank you.
And one more time, let's give a big round of applause. Our third group for this afternoon is Team Kweli. The presenters will be Yvonne Abongu, Mabea John, Gitonga will be on the slides, and Bosibori will be another of their presenters. Makofi ya wan tafadhali.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Okay, I'll just wait for my teammates to prepare the slides. All right, good afternoon once more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kweli. Kweli is a Kiswahili word for truth. We're building a civic and accountability platform for Africa's democracy. Democracy is a government for the people and by the people. There's been a democratic disconnect. There's a communication breakdown. There's mistrust between the citizens and its people. How then do we get people to sit together and talk? How do we get the citizens to dialogue with the government? That's where Kweli comes in. We have a multi-channel feedback solution. Number one, free USSD codes for the people who don't have access to the internet. Number two, we have the Kweli digital solar panel hubs stationed in rural areas where people who don't have access to the internet or smartphones or cell phones can go and give their feedback. Number three, we have digital channels because we believe in inclusivity. Let's have the people who have the internet also giving us the feedback. In Kenya, we have 44% of Kenyans not having access to internet. We have 13 million of them not having access to electricity. Only 25% of Kenyans have access to smartphones. So the question is, how then do they give their feedback? This is the data journey for Kweli. Information is collected anonymously. It is clustered by the AI based on the issue and the region. It is verified. And then we have a multi-channel feedback system where we talk about scorecards. We give government reports. And we use SMSs to give civic education to the people who've given us the feedback. Every single feedback that we get will be anonymous, verified, counted, and protected. We talk about sustainability. Most startups do not last past the funding system. We're coming up with a B2B, a hybrid system where we are depending on donors, but we are hoping that we become self-reliant. We are hoping to join the government as partners. We offer them civic education and to inform the citizens of what they're doing. And then the citizens are able to give feedback freely. We want to partner with telecommunication companies to have subsidized USSD reads. We want to partner with academic institutions to contribute to their research on democracy. These are the citizens, they give free feedback. Kweli is at the center, acting as a neutral intermediary. And then we have our partners who are coming in to help us with revenue generation. Thank you so much.
So, let us look at a journey on how our system will be used. For our case, we lose a person known as Wafula. Now Wafula lives in Turkana, and now he went to the hospital and he wasn't satisfied with the services that are given there. While there, he heard of the system called Kweli. Now Kweli, he'll walk to the booth, which are situated strategically in communities, and will interact in a system that will be shown on the screen. Now in this system, we receive the data anonymously, and later using our custom AI model to assist in mainly categorizing the category in which the issue is coming from, and also filter out unnecessary information, let's say vulgar language or anything, and assist in categorizing the data. And after getting the feedback, we'll give back to a follower, we'll educate him on, let's say for his situation, it's a hospital situation, he'll be told to register, he'll be informed about SHA. The message will be prompted as, have you ever registered for SHA Health? Now, mainly dial star 147 hash. And after this, later on, now our system will give feedback to the relevant authorities regarding, now for our case, it's the Ministry of Health. Since our system is it's a loop to feed in, mainly making sure information is well spread throughout the society. And with that, and later on, through the dashboard, there'll be a feedback mainly showing you how issues are how data is being fed throughout the entire country, and showing what issues and scorecards from generalized area. Since the data fetched anonymously, will be also picking geolocation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's give it up for Team Kweli. Coming up next is Team Ubuntu, that is team number 4, consisting of Damian Kajwang and Mwangi Kinuthia. Makofi yao tafadhali. Remember, after this, we'll be going into a Q&A from the judges, followed by the panel discussions, where we'll have Claudia Massa and David Momanyi. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the team Ubuntu the opportunity to get themselves ready. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we also have a first aid in the room, just in case you feel a bit lightheaded or might need some first aid.
Good afternoon. So this is Team Ubuntu. My name is Damian, and my partner here is called Mwangi, and we'll be presenting. Sorry. Minute.
As we wait for the team to get ready, we can sneak out a message or two. Keep reminding people what we're doing, where we are, what we've achieved, and what we've come to do. And for those who are watching us online, those who are part of the deliberations, If you got any questions, just share them on online. What we'll try and do is have them answered later in our afternoon deliberations. And I think the team is ready right now. You may proceed.
Thank you. I think we can proceed from here. This is Team Abantu, and I'm Damien, and this is Mwangi. So we are tackling the problem of peace, promoting peace amongst the youth. And the big problem is that I think all of you have experienced. In the past few months, if you all can remember, on the 25th of June last year, and recently just what happened in Nepal, these were because of the voices that were being suppressed. So millions of youth in conflict and remote areas have a challenge in joining the peace conversation. So we decided to come up with a unique proposition that will involve a platform that will be promoting peace. And what we aim to look at from this platform is that the voices of the youth are being heard. So there has been a great disconnect in the voices of the youth, and millions of them cannot bring their ideas, their opinions into the table where negotiation happens. So exclusion of these marginalized youth perpetuates stereotype and allows hate speech to dominate, especially in the online spaces. And therefore we decided to come up with a digital platform that will help us in guiding us towards a peaceful nation. What do we aim to achieve with our platform? Empowering the marginalized, breaking the stereotype, recognizing the champions who are promoting peace. And after that, because this is an activity, we aim to measure the growth that we have and the impact that we have on the society, especially when it comes to peace building. So how it works, the youth dial a USSD code or send a voice note, which is converted into peace dialogue on our platform. It is being moderated and filtered through AI and other platforms, and including real life people who are in the community. And then once this information is filtered, it can then be published on our website. So my colleague Mwangi will take you through the platform. So just a quick run on our platform. The first platform, we have integrated 2 platforms just to ensure that we give it maximum capacity and a maximum output. So this platform is called Peaceverse, that has been translated into both Kiswahili and English, and it can be translated into other languages. What we are tackling is we are creating a voice-first platform that will allow people to share their voices. We'll be creating safe community hubs, peace community radio, interactive community maps, peace challenges that can allow gamification and people to be awarded. And we are also creating a safe platform where people can advance moderation and can allow people to report challenges that they have encountered. So you can come to a platform and record directly your voice here. It will also show you safe spaces around the community where people can come and discuss. We also have a community radio that will be live, and we'll also have another one that will be offline. And here it shows a number of radio stations that are promoting peace that can come on board. Our system is very light. We only need a 2G to run this system. It allows you to operate in 5 languages. It is small. It has just 12 MBs. And I know for the people who are not Gen Zs here, this feature will be very useful to you because sometimes you're not seeing very well. It also allows you to prompt. It's quite a robust system, but what you're basically trying to do is to fight hate speech, incitement and tribal tensions, political violence, online harassment and cyberbullying, disinformation.
Okay, now to have to see the implementation of the system, It is here. Peace verse. As you can see, we have some like 5 main features. The first one is polling. If I can come here to polling. So in polling, this will enable people to participate in bills directly from online or from wherever. So as you can see here, we have, so it's not like a bill from government. People can also promote their own bills just to gauge what the people want and what the people don't want. We can also see here in this tab, we allow people to engage directly with government bills. So you can see maybe affordable housing, they can vote directly from their platform. And now we have the Hall of Fame. For the Hall of Fame, this is where we will recognize peace builders. As you can see, we have several dummy data there. But basically what will be happening here, we will be scrapping data from online sources, especially Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and then we scrap thousands of messages and posts, and then we use AI to see who is the one who is promoting peace the most, so we can recognize them here. And then we have moderation. This is where we'll be tackling those who are the violators of peace. We will use the same technique. We scrap data from social media, from Facebook, Twitter, etc. And then we analyze those people who are always spreading hate, misinformation, and we will, this is like a hall of shame, so we will just display them here. And then we have safe spaces. In safe spaces, here you can find locations whereby you can collaborate with other youth to engage in peaceful conversations and discourses. And then we have a Gen Z radio. Here, we will have Gen Z hosts, Gen Z shows, just youthful people advocating for peace through digital technology. And then if you come to settings, you can be able to hide your location. Maybe you are posting something sensitive and you don't want to be tracked, so you can disable location tracking. And you can also come here to propose a bill. Everyone can propose a bill. You can see, you can propose the title, category, description, and there is also the option of submitting anonymously if it's a contentious bill. So that is it.
So in a bid to ensure that this platform goes live, we hope for scalability. We are planning to make this an open source model so that it can be included in all nations around the world. And also we plan to bring on board partners who will enable us to gain information, much insight, that will enable us to grow and to power this technology to promote democracy and peace building. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a big round of applause. I know for many of us, the keywords we had is you can put up a message and they cannot find you. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have our last group for this afternoon. We've got Team Sifa, consisting of Trevor Tuja, Sean Pablo, Ashley Kageha, and Rigard Sarai. Makofi yao tafadhali as they come up.
Good evening. We are Team SIFA, and we are very privileged and we feel very humble to introduce our solution here. We call it Wazi Data. It's a simple name. Basically, Wazi means open in Swahili. And if I were to summarize it, it serves to make open data available for everyone. So with that, I would like to hand over to my fellow teammate, Sean, who will take us through our presentation.
Thank you. So just as you've heard, our solution is Wazi Data, basically open data. We want information that is basically in reports, PDFs. Usually these data that are credible and on the internet is not helpful to someone who is maybe in Garissa or someone in Nyandarua, all these scarce areas of the country. So while open data is increasingly available, many marginalized communities lack this data. They cannot access it either due to lack of technology or due to scarcity of wherever they live. And now, Wazi Data is a solution created by us, of course, and it entails a detailed yet informative representation of data accessible to anyone at any time. Now, what does it entail? I just want to run a few facts before we enter into the demo. And I can say that over 102, the statistics show, and this we've taken from credible sources like the Canon BC, something of the sort, that over 102, the number reduced from 102 to 43, and this signifies from 1990 to 2019, that over 65,000 kids died because due to either distance to the healthcare facilities, or they did not understand what the child was going through. And similarly, aside from healthcare, there are these, can I call them infrastructure, is distant. Let's even take security for us, not security, electricity, power. It has, if we actually compare it between urban areas to rural areas receive 65% of infrastructure compared to urban areas. So what does this tell you? That there is a disproportion of resources. Now, this is where Wazi Data now comes into action. And now, we're going to show you a demo of what we've done and actually help you guys understand what we've done with the functionalities. So I'll hand it over to Trevor to take it over from there.
Yeah, as you can see, first of all, we made a landing page for anyone. It's quite simple and it gives a snapshot of recent data from what Sean has mentioned to be credible and verifiable sources. It's available in our national languages, English and Swahili, and basically summarizing what we are trying to do or what we avail to everyone. This is another summary of what we are trying to do. We're trying to inform the masses. We're trying to empower them, give them actionable, give them an idea of anything that they can do to make the changes that maybe they need and to inspire their actions from them. We have separated these things into different modules fed by different data sets. So for this demo, we will use healthcare distribution. I'll come back to that later. We also plugged in relevant news feed into it and also added a section for community feedback. So back to the healthcare distribution model. Upon opening it, as you can see, just 1 second, you are given a map of the country and the health centers within which you can pick one out, an appropriate one, and kindly forgive us because the aggregates should be showing, but it's a demo at the end of the day. You have statistics that are shortened, you have suggestions that are given to you, and these suggestions can be exported as a PDF, they can be printed out, maybe circulated in more marginalized areas, and they're available again in English and Swahili. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. We also added a chatbot that's a bit easier than navigating an entire website. It can be prompted to give you a bit more condensed information, as so. So yeah, as you can see, it gave us some feedback there that you can read through, and also there a link to the source of its data. Yeah. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's give it up for Team CIFA. Right now, what we'd like to do is move to the judges' questions. So if you could have all the team leaders kindly stand in front of us. Would like to get a few questions from the judges, and you can feel free to consult from the rest of your team members.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me introduce myself. My name is David Momanyi. I have the first question go to Kweli. Congratulations for the presentation. Sometimes it's not very easy to present, especially in the afternoon. Probably you might be sweating. But my question is, how is this Ukweli dial different from Ushahidi platform? Are you aware of Ushahidi platform?
No, I'm not.
You're not aware?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Team Kweli.
What's your team, yes?
I'm Team Alpha.
Ukweli. What's the first group? The first group to present? Yes, that's the first group. I'm asking the question. How is your platform different from Shahidi platform?
I'm not aware of Shahidi.
You're not aware?
Yes.
So that means you did not do your homework correctly. Or any person from that group who understand that?
Brian, Masha, Michelle.
There is an Ushahidi platform. If you Google there, you see you have a laptop, and there is Wi-Fi before you. Just Google and see. They have a similar initiative. So I was wondering, how is it different from the one that you have just presented?
Yeah? All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Diana Oma, and I have, I think, questions for 3 groups. But I'll start with the team that presented something on games. That was Team Vote-wise, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so have you ever seen the game Kenya at 50?
Yes.
Have you played the game?
Yes.
Is it very participatory in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, you said that your innovative idea was to gamify and bring that civic education to young people. But then from what you presented rather, I had seen this module 1, module 2, and module 3. So I don't know where the game part came in, so maybe you can expound more on that. I wish I could have seen a game that can actually entice young people. So maybe it's because the time was limited, but maybe you can speak to us more on that.
Okay, so thank you for the question. Actually, we have thought about that. So after you've completed a module, we've implemented a point system so that there's a leaderboard that you're competing with your friends about basically who has understood who has understood voter education better. So there's if we had the chance to it, we would have. But you gain points, then you have a ranking system, and then there's also badges if you saw being implemented. So the more badges you get, the more it's basically similar to the Hall of Fame that they implemented, of like you feel empowered that you have more badges than everyone else. So that's the gaming experience. Yes.
Still on to you. I think you also mentioned that you collect user data and information.
Yes.
What exactly is this data for? If it's just a game online that you want to educate young people on, why do you collect their personal data?
So the initial plan for the data is for the leaderboard at first, because you need to be ranked and you need to have an account to be ranked. For the user data, I can ask my team member to clarify better on that.
So some of the information we collect is just full names, email address, passwords, and sorry, not collect passwords, but you create a password for the, and for login, users will just use the email address and the password that they've created. How we manage the data is once you create your account, you're able to log in securely, and all that data is stored in a private server. And how we protect it, the passwords are all encrypted. Even us, we can't see your passwords and anything. So we can't access your different accounts. And we are not able to see in terms of your maybe national ID and such. We're only able to access what you give us. And you can't create an account until you have actually consented from the privacy policy that we gave on the site.
Thank you. My last but not least question is to Team Ubuntu. Okay. You said your system was trying to fight cyberbullying, disinformation, and fake news, right? Yes. But also promoting peace. Yes. And then you demoed that you record a voice note that then converts into a dialogue. I wish we were able to see that. But my question is, while you have a hall of fame, you also have a hall of shame. So how does that then not bring out the cyberbullying aspect? Because I'm assuming this is a public website, right? Yes. So if you have a hall of shame for people maybe you feel are providing misinformation or disinformation, how does this curb cyberbullying?
So I think Hall of Shame went beyond and overboard, but what we are really trying to do is that we've implemented an AI system on our platform. This AI system will scrap the data that is available on the internet. So it will be able to show us, because it's a transparent system, it will definitely show us who are these people who are promoting and who are these people who are trying to bring us down when you're trying to move forward. So it is just a transparent system, not that we want to shame anyone. And in fact, if you appear there, it means there's a problem. and we are working various authorities that will ensure that some of this information that we get there can be handled with the specific authorities.
Lastly, you said there's a part where citizens can propose bills. Where do you take the bill? For instance, if I have an idea, I want us to have free sanitary towels, and then I put it in your site, where do you take it?
So ideally, when you want to promote a bill, you need to substantiate it. Number one, once the bill is collected and the feedback is collected from the people, we gather this information, and since we are working with relevant partners in different organizations, even say, for example, Nuru, we are promoting democracy. We give this information to those people, the relevant authorities, who can then work on this information. For example, now our members of parliament, our MCAs, for them to forward these bills, because we'll be working with them to the relevant authorities now and handle them.
Thank you. That's it from me.
I have a question for you, my brother. The Ubuntu. I like the statement that you said, one, you are promoting peace amongst the youth. But also you did mention that you also went to another paraphrasing about the young people that are disconnected from the key decision organs. I didn't see quite how the system actually, your idea actually mediates between the youth and the duty bearers. Is it the time was short, or
the time was a bit short, but if you can give me 2 minutes, I can demonstrate.
Okay.
Am I allowed?
Don't know. I'm not the one in charge of the time, but I wish you could have done that.
Oh.
Because you see, that is a very valid initiative.
Okay.
That's considering where we come from, because they're already always listening in our societies today, is that the government is deaf, blind, and they don't listen to anything. So I wish that you could have provided a platform where the ministry can be able to listen to the voices of young people through these particular kind of platforms. So I hope that you will be given that particular platform.
Maybe if I can just touch on it a little bit for a minute. The system that we are building will have very many tools, not just one, both online and offline. For the offline, we'll be having SMSs, voice notes where people can share these messages. And since it's a public platform, these messages will appear on our public platform. And apart from that, we are trying to ensure that we have radio stations, for example, that promote peace, so that even those people in the most remote areas, the marginalized areas, can have access to this information at a glance.
A good one. You also did mention that 5 languages. And I was thinking loudly, are you marginalizing the rest of the communities further? Because you mentioned 5, but in my quick mathematics, we are about 40 something tribes, 44 tribes. Are you marginalizing, or are you providing a solution?
So part of what this is just a demonstration that we are doing right now, and we've only piloted with five languages. But we hope this will go to the global scale. And by the end of it, we are not just talking about one language, 43 languages in Kenya, maybe 100 languages in East Africa. We are talking about the global scale. So once we improve this, we can be able to, with the necessary funds and the next technology, this can scale to the levels that I think will make you happy.
Yeah, but you should have mentioned the language. We don't know what kind of language. Are you talking about the local languages here?
So we've started with the local languages because those are the immediate people we are serving. So English, Kiswahili, those are the main ones. And then we have gone to Kikuyu, we've gone to the Luo, and we also added Kamba. So we are also working with the AI platforms to help us in the translation of this.
Now, from your statement, you mentioned that it attracts us actually, the marginalized people are included. So you see those tribes you have mentioned, you are actually marginalizing them further. We will have actually heard you saying probably El Chamus. My friend here is from El Chamus. At the back there, you will have used the Endorois, something like that. But actually, I think that's an area you also need people to work on.
Thank you very much. My name is Richard Muteti. The beauty of speaking last is that most of the questions have been asked. But I have maybe 2 or 3 questions. Number one, The WASI data team, Team CIFA. Team CIFA.
Yes.
I just wanted to understand, how would you make open data available to the marginalized communities? That was not very clear.
I'm sorry about that. Maybe we rushed through it because of the time allocated. But as you saw, almost towards the end of the presentation, the report had the option to print. Now, our assumption was each county, for example, has a county government and a county government office, and actually offices. So it wouldn't be a stretch to assume that such data can be printed out and maybe placed or distributed.
Okay, let me ask again.
Yes.
I come from a supposedly marginalized sector also. You know the informal sector, Juakali?
No.
You don't know?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just asking, just to get this clarification, WASI data is a good concept of getting open data to the marginalized. My question is, a marginalized village, maybe in, for example, Masaini Huko, how do you get this open data to them?
Currently, I don't think it's with the integration that we have right now.
Integration bado. It's okay.
But the next step.
It is understood.
Yeah, would be that.
It is understood. Now, Team Ubuntu. Team Ubuntu, you also said that, maybe I didn't get you right, but you said that your apps might have a problem with people who are not Gen Z. Did you say that?
No. What I meant is that we've included a policy on our platform that will allow even the people who are facing challenges like vision impairment. When you have a problem like me, you need to use your glasses. Our system can allow you to add the font size, to record, or even to use those tools to navigate through the platforms. Yeah, but it's for everyone. It's a tool for everyone, not just the Gen Z or the youth.
Okay.
It's a tool for everyone at the end of the day.
Sawa. Team Ukweli, that was number 2. Yeah. I didn't get, there was a confusion between Team Alpha, which was doing the Ukweli dial, and your name is Ukweli. So in between hapo ilipotea, what was your mantra? What were you promoting? What was the name?
So our team is Team Kweli, and that is the name of our software, and our slogan is Sauti kwa wote.
Oh, Sauti kwa wote. Okay. Okay. I think I was just seeking those clarifications.
Okay.
The rest is fine. Thank you very much. Back to there.
Sorry, I have a question for Team Kweli. I think from his question, then it came back to me. I really like the concept, but I was struggling to identify how you would then include young people who are actually marginalized. For instance, persons with disability, people from those marginalized communities. Like, what strategy do you have to make sure that they are also included in your platform?
So as my team member Evan said, our solution is multifaceted. Now, one way we are reaching the people who are marginalized is the free USSD system, where you can send a free SMS. Now that's for anyone who has a phone, with a smartphone, or what do they call it, the kabambe, the burner phone. Secondly, that's why we introduced the physical booths, because we do recognize that there are regions in Kenya that do not have electricity, they do not have internet connection. So we were asking ourselves, how then do we also ensure that these people are brought along with providing the solution? How do they get to give feedback? Hence, we came with the solution of the physical booths. Now, what those booths are going to do is they will provide a space for people to come and give back their feedback. Also, the booths are accessible to people who are persons with disabilities. For instance, there is going to be the braille for tactile, so that somebody who is blind can navigate the space by themselves. There is also sign language. So there are startups in Kenya right now, for instance, Sanvas, that are creating Kenyan Sign Language to be as simple as the same concept as the way Google Translate works. So incorporating such enabled, I know a person who's deaf can read, but them communicating using sign language is more effective for them. So we have taken note into including these communities that way. Also, how do the youth benefit in those communities? Every area where we will set up the booth, the youth in that community are the ones we are going to train, and they're the ones who will be doing the civic education for their communities, and also it will provide employment. Because if I was to move to, let's say, Turkana right now and try to speak to them, I'm not from there. I don't know their language. So it's fear of the unknown. They will not be willing to participate. But once we include the communities, then yes, that is how we're including those marginalized regions.
Sorry, just a follow-up. I like that you said it's community-led, and you plan to establish booths in different locations. Then this brings me to a sustainability question, like which counties are you planning to have these booths, and to what extent will you be having booths in different counties? Because counties are equally very big. Yeah. So I'm trying to understand which areas will you be prioritizing to have these booths where people can easily access?
Okay. So for the booths, our core solution is the web platform, right? Now, any person who is not tech savvy or young or has access to internet, the next step is for them to use the USSD form, which you generally have a phone. So you might be in Nairobi in a low income area, but you do have a banner phone, you are addressed. Now, thirdly is the community that are really marginalized, and that is where the booths will go. The booths want to go everywhere. Generally, we don't need a booth here in Nairobi. Yes, so those are the regions. For instance, if you go to Wajir, and not if you go to Turkana, we might put it in Lokichogyo, but not within the Turkana town, because already there is internet there. So the sustainability issue is we are trying to get a balance of ensuring that no one is left behind, but at the same time we do make finances, and that's why we also have the B2B model, where we intend now to use the data to be the intermediary between the government and the citizens. I feel like there is a disconnect. There are services the government is providing, but citizens are not aware, and there's also gaps that the citizens could inform the government so that we work together, and that's how we will be sustainable.
I think that's it from us. Thank you.
So right now what we're going to do is we're going to be moving to our panel discussions, and the theme is civic inclusion. So what we're going to do right now, sorry about that, is welcome our next guest to come up onto the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, if we kindly put our hands together for David Momanyi from Horn of Africa Youth Network. Makofi yake tafadhali. David amesema hiyo makofi mmepiga haijatosha. Mumpigie makofi ingine. Thank you very much. So we're going to have this questions put on the screen. So David's role will be to trigger a conversation that will go around the room. I'll be walking around the room and getting to involve every single one of us. We'd like to make sure that this is not just a conversation between two people, but not a monologue. There'll be a conversation between every single one of us, guests, and the teams that are participating here today. So as we get the team to get that ready, I would like to notice and appreciate the presence of a lot of our guests who've come here this afternoon, people who've taken a break from their busy schedules to be here with us. So without mentioning names, we'll mention the institutions and organizations that are represented here this afternoon. Starting us off with the National Heroes Council of Kenya, Youth for SDGs Kenya, Zingfei Changsha, Save the Children International, Jeruto Environmental Conservation, Netherlands Institute of Democracy, Horn of Africa Youth Network, Kenya National Heroes Council, ORPP, Nairobi Metro Club, that is YMCA, Communications and Media, Indigenous Friends of Mau Forest, the Art Glamour Foundation, Absa Bank, FIDA Kenya, Global Peace, and the Kenya Youth Senate. So if we've not mentioned you, it's not that we've forgotten you, it's maybe just that we did not remember. But if you're not mentioned, it still means that you're still welcome. And if we're ready, I think we should be able to start. Good afternoon, David, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
So you can start us off with what you had in mind, and what we'll do is I will go around the room making sure that we involve every single one of us, because this is a conversation that we're having with every single one of us. Democracy, when you're fighting for democracy, it's not something you're fighting for yourself. It is something that you're trying to achieve for the benefit of every single individual, every single citizen, irrespective of their age, background, race, or upbringing. Asante.
Thank you.
So the theme is civic inclusion.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon. You have not taken lunch? The session is interesting. We have had some interesting conversations here. And I would want to take this opportunity to be able to thank the speakers who have spoken before me. Today's panel is quite interesting. Considering that the region and also our country that we are going different transitions. Actually, this session is very important at this particular moment. When we reflect as the Republic of Kenya, when the Kenya Kwanza administration has celebrated 3 years, the question is there anything that we can celebrate as young people? So that's a question that you need people to ask yourself. Is there something that you can be able to celebrate? And considering tying up the conversation that we have through the hackathons that we have presented here, is there something that we can be able to celebrate in these particular conversations? But most importantly, as some of the co-speakers before me they have already mentioned, the issues about democracy is not for the whole, it's not for the young people alone, students or youths who are out of school. It's actually our own responsibility. When we don't wake up to go and vote, we are actually working to make sure that we have the bad governments, that we bring the bad governments to leadership. Again, there is also a challenge that we have as young people. Last elections, not all of us actually went to vote. We had 8 million people not vote. 8 million, not 8 people, 8 million people did not go to vote. The conversation that we had before is that we asked, especially the ladies, why were you? They were very excited that, this is a holiday, we are given holiday, we are not going to be able to vote, but we will be preparing breakfast for our boyfriend. When they have come out from the voting, they will be able to find this breakfast. So, and that one now brings me, what is the role of girls and young women in the conversation about civic inclusion in this particular process? Do we have a role as young women in this particular process? Or are we just there because we just want to be seen? And then now start crying that we need a two-third gender rule need to be implemented. Are we fighting for this particular space? So that we make sure that we are part and parcel to make sure that we are nurturing democracy. Because democracy is a process, it's a journey. What is our contribution? In a spirit where we don't get the two-third gender rule, what is our space? What is our role in the political parties? Because political parties, they are not churches. And the political parties, they are very rough. Especially where the women, where you compete with the opposite gender. How do we make sure that we position ourselves in these political parties? Because political parties, their main business is to will power. That's why it's different. And sometimes when someone says that God will provide, I wonder if there is God in politics. There is no God in politics. You don't, that's why you pray. It's either you are in that particular space or you are not in that particular space. I think I have to stop there. That's the question.
I think what David is mentioned is nothing that is very foreign. To be honest, let's do this. Not that I'm mentioning names and I'm not victimizing anybody. Whenever we're given a public holiday to go and vote, there's Team Sherehe who decide, leo, kesho siendi pahali, mpaka asubuhi. So you party the whole night. In the morning, you look at that hangover, going to line up. That's not me. So you've eliminated yourself from the voting process. And then those who wake up, go look at the line. They're like, I'll come back later. In the afternoon, you get busy or you take a nap, you wake up, it is 6 p.m., I can no longer vote. You've been eliminated from the process. Then there are those of us who decide, you know what, this thing, I change kitu. What's the point of me even going to vote in the first place?
Actually, it will be stolen.
Yes, ikataibiwa. So, wacha nilale tu. So you don't even get to be part of the process. And then there are those of us who've never even bothered to go and get yourselves a voting card. What for? Wallet yangu ni ndogo, nitemba nayo kadi na nisaidie na nini? You only use it once every 5 years. So you don't bother being part of the process. But 2 years into the administration's rule, serikali natumaliza. We've jumped from all those, not to mention particular names, but we're already criticizing the government that is there. But at the end of the day, we were not part of the process. Why are you complaining? You had the chance to do something about it. Actually, every single one of us who is in this room, I believe, is over the age of 18. Able and capable. Whether you're in that line is there because those people care. Those people want to make a difference. Now, every single one of us has the opportunity to try and make a difference. But many of the times, we wait for peer influence. We always give excuses. We don't turn up for voting. Voting is only one day. Alafu we will say, hii voting ingekuwa online, tungekuwa tumemaliza asubuhi na mapema. But remember, the people who are standing there are people who've decided to take choice, who've made the choice to try and make a difference. As insignificant as your one vote will look, every single one of us, I mean, somebody said that they have more followers than one of, I think it was addressed to one of our political candidates, and they said they have more followers than she got votes or he got votes. But truth of the matter is, those are the people who turned up to select that person. If your vote is not counted, that means that you do not have a voice and should not be able to criticize anything that is happening because you're the reason that the government in place is there. And with that, I will roll around the room. We'd like to share our visions, our opinions, and if you've got anything that you think, you've got any words that you think would actually help us or inspire us to achieve our end goal. Our end goal is democracy. As we said earlier on, democracy is not a destination, it is a journey. It is a journey that has goalposts that change every so often because of different aspects. So I'll start with Team VoteWise.
Mr. Moderator, before when you proceed.
Yes.
How many of us demonstrated the Gen Z demonstration, took part in Gen Z demonstration?
Cameras are off, we're not taking notes. We will not victimize you.
How many of us? We're not victimizing you. How many of us joined the Gen Z demonstration? Okay, just give the mic. Where were you demonstrating?
Yeah.
I saw a couple of you. Don't drop your hands down. I saw you.
Oh, it was the very first demonstration last year in CBD.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you vote?
Yes, I did.
You voted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Uh-huh. Who did not vote but went to demonstrate?
Any hands up? Thank you. Remember, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, because your opinion at the end of the day, whether you want to vote or not, is up to you.
That is part of democracy.
It is part of democracy.
Good evening. What was the question again?
Who did not vote but went to demonstrate?
Me. So, okay, the reason, honestly, it was not even because of the thought of my one vote doesn't count. Honestly, it's because at the time the voters card were being handed out, I was unfortunately dealing with something. So, time kidogo ilinicheza. So, honestly, the unfair taxation rules, the unfair taxation rules imposed on us, who are the future of this government, and honestly, even ignoring us, not actually listening to us, even though we gave you a platform, we gave you a chance to lead us, make us a better country. It felt quite unfair and disrespectful. So yeah.
Can I ask another question?
The same gentleman.
Are you in a political party? Why are you not in a political party?
Honestly, politics is not my passion.
Precisely. Are you looking for employment?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we need to do civic education in this particular area. And let me tell you something. I am not in the ruling coalition political party, but I'm a member of a political party. I know, and my colleagues who are here, they have actually demonstrated before the last election, and this is also sharing what we have done before. The last election, what we did is that we asked ourselves as young people, what brings us together as the youth? Because there are so many things which divides us as the things which brings us together. We asked ourselves, these are some of the challenges that brings us together. We found ourselves in Manzoni with all political parties, youth leaders from all political parties. We realized that there is increase of youth unemployment, there is fair political spaces, all those particular issues. What did we do? We created a youth manifesto. One of the key things that we did put in that particular youth manifesto is to have a standalone ministry responsible for youth affairs. So the Ministry for Youth Affairs is not a generosity of the President Ruto. It was actually the conversation that we had. And we presented the outcome of our meetings to the leading presidential candidates. Even if Wajakoya was to be the president, with the Tingiza Miti slogan, you could have actually established the ministry responsible for youth. Because initially we had an history where the Ministry of Youth actually was being handed over. We found ourselves the Ministry of Devolution. After devolution, we were brought in the Ministry of Public Service. We thought we were going to get jobs. After a few years, we were actually taken to the Ministry of ICT and Youth. After ICT and Youth, I don't know if we could have been taken to the ocean or to agriculture. So that's the reason why we said we need to safeguard these youth issues. And let me tell you, as much as we don't participate in the political space, even in a church, even in a family, politics actually takes the center stage. In a family, the people want to go for holiday, for a vacation. Your parents tell you that you have to go to Ushago for vacation. So you have to debate and come up with a leveling playing field where you can be able to go. Even in a church, you don't hear people fight nowadays. I'm not against SDA. My mom comes from SDA, but even SDA nowadays they fight. Why do they fight? Yeah? It's because of this. Politics is everything. Politics run the nation. If you are not in the political party, and I think that's also an area that we need people to rethink. If you are not in a political party, you cannot be able to contribute effectively in civic education and also in democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. And ladies and gentlemen, seeing that time is not really on our side, let's give David a big round of applause. I'd like to summarize this session by just giving you the online definition of what civic inclusion is. Now, this is a process of ensuring that all individuals and groups, including marginalized populations and newcomers, have opportunities to participate fully in civic life and feel a sense of belonging and connection to their community and local governments. Now, this includes access to democratic spaces, meaningful involvement in decision-making processes, access to information, and the skills and resources needed to engage in activities like voting, community organizing, volunteering, and advocating for social change. So one thing I'd like us to note is that it does not have to be political only. Democracy can be practiced in your houses. It could be practiced in your businesses, how you relate with your friends. It is something that is everywhere in every space that we have. We just have to utilize it and keep changing it to what the environment we are in requires. So one more time, ladies and gentlemen, makofi David Momanyi. Now, there's a QR code that is going around that has a couple of questions that would like you to answer for us this afternoon. As we wait to go into that time that everybody has been waiting for. You want to find out who's won, eh? But we've got some feedback. Okay, I've got two groups who've got a bit of feedback, who'll have some words they'd like to share with us. Let's remember not to keep it or let it slide into anything political. We are trying to make sure that this is a democratic space for everybody. Thank you.
Is that a disclaimer? I felt like I needed to say something. I've really battled with myself. Should I say it or should I just let it go? But David posed a very important question on the function or the role of women in politics. Sometimes you shy away and say, I'll not participate in politics, I'll just sleep at home. But you need to realize that you need to actively participate in politics because the decisions that are made in parliament directly affect you. I personally, in the last month, I've had a really big shift on the role of women in politics. I personally got into a very difficult issue where a relative of mine was being assaulted back at home by some men who is a woman, that relative of mine. And at that point, FIDA came right on time to assist me because it was basically issues of wife inheritance and, gender-based violence. I didn't have anybody I could run to, but Millicent Mabona and the FIDA team came right on time to assist me. At that point, I realized that it's only women who can understand issues that are affecting women. And if we have women in parliament, they're able to pull strings and help women solve these issues. Maybe Phoebe Asio, may her soul rest in peace. She is the first woman who showed women that, you can lead, you can sit in parliament, bringing forth the two-third gender rule. So just a call to everybody and my fellow youth, you have to participate actively in politics because the decisions made by politicians affect you directly. Thank you.
Thank you with that. And seeing we do not have too much time on our side, I'd like to lead you to where that QR code that you've scanned will take you. There are a couple of questions that you'd like you to answer. So if you could kindly just pick out your mobile phone, scan the QR code that we've shared with you. If you don't have it, I think there'll be pieces of paper that are going around where you can actually just scan that and answer the questions. The first question is, what does civic inclusion really mean in practice? And I think this is actually real time, so we'll get to see some of the answers that we're putting on that. So if you don't have the QR code, just lift your hand. I'll come around and make sure that you get one. If you've already gotten there, let's answer the question and we can get to that feedback in a couple of minutes. So I'll allow you some time to scan the QR code, assuming and hoping that we have digital phones. Thank you. Kabambe. Yeah. If you don't have the QR code, let us know. We'll come around and share one with you. If you've not gotten access to the QR code, just lift up your hand. We'll bring it round for you. Anybody who needs the QR code? Now, I noticed something that was in the fine print of for the groups. that every group had only 6 minutes for the presentation. Yeah, just dropping some information you can use as you please. Let's see what the judges will do with that information. Anybody with any issue? Anybody who needs any help? We are now getting ready for the prize awarding ceremony. I hope everybody has the QR code. If you don't, kindly just lift up your hand. We'll come to you and help you be able to access the questions. Once we're done with the prize awarding ceremony, we'll have the closing remarks. So, what you're seeing on the screen, accessibility, it's about ensuring, creating awareness to all, accountability. These are all your answers. Most people are addressed, every voice matters, participating in decisions, access to information, inclusion, equality, opportunity for all, equality, all participation, public participation, everyone's involvement. I think one thing, we all seem to be on the same track. We all want inclusion and involvement of every single person in the process of democracy. We'll give you 1 more minute to continue with this before we move on to the prize giving ceremony. Participation and capacity, transparency, equality, participating in decisions, equal opportunities for all. Sorry about that. We still have 1 more panel discussion to continue with, and what we'd like to do as we answer the questions, if you could kindly have Diana Ouma from Youth for SDGs Kenya and Richard Muteti, CMSEO East Africa, kindly come up to the stage, take the seats that have been provided for you there. Let's clap for our guests as they come through the stage. I know we've heard from many of them, but we'd like them to quickly start by introducing themselves before we head into the theme of intergenerational dialogue. Makofia once more.
Thank you very much, moderator. My name is Richard Muteti. I have been a servant of, I would not say a marginalized sector, the informal sector in the country. I had the Micro and Small Enterprises Confederation of the East Africa Community and served the MSME sector in various capacities, both in Kenya, East Africa, and on a continental level. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. That's better. My name is Diana Oma. I work with an organization called Youth for SDGs Kenya. It's a national organization that is youth-led and youth-focused, and we support other youth and youth-led organizations working or championing for the Sustainable Development Goals in terms of capacity building, linkages with decision-making processes, but also the UN processes for the SDGs. Thank you very much.
Now, the empty seat you're seeing there had been reserved for Immaculate Amoit from WETEC Kenya, who's joining us online. So I really hope that she can hear us and can address us. So if you look at the screen, I think we should be seeing her image appearing very soon.
Thank you so much. I've been amazed by the various presentations that have just gone ahead a few minutes ago. My name is Immaculate Amoit. When Mteti was speaking, I was thinking, oh, I come from one of the historically marginalized tribes in Kenya. And so, coming from that perspective, I'm just
Sorry about that.
I'm honored to be in this space. I'm a gender expert, and I've worked with young women over the country. I promote gender equality and gender justice, and I'm equally a human rights defender. So I'm honored to be on this panel. Thank you so much.
So I think we can continue with the session. We'll let our moderators take us through intergenerational dialogue. Back to you, Richard and Diana. I think you had some questions? Yes.
Hello. Oh yeah, thank you very much. First, I must say that I'm very honored to be in this very exciting platform that we are discussing about intergenerational matters. But one thing is very clear to me, and maybe I should also mention it here, that we only hear that the youth are the future of the democracy. I want to start this panel by refusing with that and say that the youth are not the future of democracy, they are the present. The youth is the present of the democracy, and once we get that from the word go, then we walk along together. I represent an organization that represents very resilient people who are very innovative, and in that subsector of the micro and small enterprises actors, and especially the informal economic sector, there's a lot of intergenerational exchanges. And for us, we have lived to value it so much. So the question here, the question that today we were to discuss about was how government and civic society can create open spaces where youth influences real policy decisions. How government and civil societies can open spaces where youth's voices can feed into policy decisions. To me, because I was given 5 minutes, so I have 5 points for this. If I had been given an hour, I would have made a presentation. If I had been given a day, I would have taken you to a retreat. So, if the government or the civil society want to create space for the youth, for the youth to be heard or their policy to be mainstreamed, the first thing that the government itself and the civil society themselves should do is to change their mindset about the youth. That's where we start. Because they should understand that the youth are co-creators. They are not just participators. And you have seen here, the moment you treat the youth as participators, you do your things behind the door, you come to the table and call them to listen, you have missed it. You need to get those youths through that behind the door where you are doing that thing. What I'm trying to say is that the youth need to be incorporated in every stage of policy formulation. That's what I wanted to say. The second point is that the two entities, the government and civil society and whoever is in that value path line, we need to create policy hubs or policy labs like this hackathon. And by the way, when I got this invitation, to me, and I think I belong to that category of elders, when I got this invitation, I didn't even know what hackathon is. So I had to turn to my daughters and ask them. And I realized it's a conversation that we have been doing hackathon in my house for all this time. So I think we need to develop youth policy hubs where this is not a one-off discussions. We also need to find a way of bridging youth ideas into policy. Like this, whatever comes out today from here should be structured in a very institutionalized manner, such that the government itself should form issues like youth policy units in all the ministries, even in the county governments, so that it's alive, it's live. The government should also have youth government co-creation councils at national and county levels. We have a youth council. Here I'm talking about live policy youth councils that inform decisions across the board. And lastly, on this point, we need digital platforms that give opportunity for crowdsourcing, where the youth can give feedback, and the feedback can be, it's not possible to reach out to every youth to get their opinion. But if you create a digital platform for crowdsourcing about the ideas and feedbacks, you will get it very well. My last 2 points on this question, so that I can give my colleague to answer before we go to the second question, is that we need to blend these conversations with the support from the enterprise ecosystem. In the MSME sector, what we have done, we have realized that if you blend youth empowerment initiatives with the policy engagements, you get transformative results. And we are thinking that the government, civil society can use this approach in governance, because we have realized, when I talk about MSMEs, let me just break it down, because the majority is in the informal sector. When I hear people talk about figures, and we have just been subjected to some figures here, and like figures and data, we hear that 60% of the youth, 60% of the population is below 35 years. This makes it a very big number of segment of the society to be ignored. But when you come to my sector, the informal economic sector, 86% of all the total people employed in gainful employment in this country are from the informal sector. For a very long time, we have been the most marginalized than even the women and youth. Because before the 80s, the government didn't even know how to deal with the informal sector. The government just knew how to deal with the formal. It's people and the people with pay slips. We were all over. That's why you see the informal sector, the best place that they have been given to operate from is from cemeteries and trenches. Yes. That's why you see people building doors and windows on the trench sites. You have not seen that? Kando ya barabara. You don't see furnitures on kando ya barabara. But with the time, we realized the importance of engagement. And towards the 90s, the government started engaging. So if you blend this with the enterprise ecosystem, you will make a lot of economic sense. And lastly, this conversation of intergenerational dialogue needs to come from consultations to commitment. What am I saying? I think for the last 19 years that I've been in the informal sector, I think I've used around 5,000 diaries of meetings. If I do an audit of what was the outcome of those meetings, like this one, it's very difficult to follow it. So there's time for commitment, for roadmaps, for solutions, not for listening. You have listened enough. And one thing about the youth is that they want to feel their issues have been processed and acted upon. So this hackathon that we have today, we need to ask ourselves, the output, the solutions, what will be the roadmap? Where will we meet it in a policy action point where we are going to say, this was my input. Thank you very much.
Let's give him a big round of applause. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to move it to 2 questions per speaker. And the next questions are for Diana. Her first question is, how do we move beyond symbolic youth inclusion to genuine intergenerational collaboration?
Thank you very much. Before I start by responding to that, clearly you can see between me and him, there's already that intergenerational difference, right? When he was giving his submission, he has his notes on his paper, right? I have mine on my phone. So now coming back to your question on how can we be more inclusive rather than not having symbolic inclusion, I'll pick from where he left, where we have, I know we speak a lot on mentorship. How about we have cross-mentorship or reverse mentorship, you would call it, where when I work with him, he can support me with institutional strengthening and leadership from experience that he has, but I can also support in the innovative and technological side of it. From even the teams that have been giving us really innovative ideas on how to curb misinformation, disinformation, and cyberbullying, you see one side of it, but there's also the institutional memory that maybe some of them lack. I think even Momanyi asked a question of, are you aware this is already existing? And some of them are not. I think that then shows the gap that we have, which is an intergenerational gap. So I think the cross-mentorship might work better than the traditional mentorship that we are used to. But also going back to the decision-making question that, again, goes back to the initial discussions that we had. Most of the time, young people are given advisory roles, true or false. But then, I'm not saying institutions shouldn't give advisory roles, but I'm saying also give equal power, or rather decision-making power to young people. Advising is one thing, but then again, I could give you advice right now. It's not guaranteed that you will take my advice. But us sitting in one platform and I have the authority to vote over a decision, I think is going beyond the tokenistic approach of youth engagement and inclusion. So I think the first thing is a mentorship, but also having a sort of co-leadership program for young people and the older generation. But then, again, he said, let's move away from talk and let's not publish books that have minutes and notes from meetings and from meetings. But also I want to say that when you're giving young people opportunities or platforms, if it's not funded, sometimes it's a challenge. I'll give a practical example. We've had a chance to listen from Team Kweli, Team Alpha, Team Vote Twice. I don't want to forget anyone so that you start marginalizing. Team Ubuntu and Team Sifa. I think inclusion of youth and youth ideas also should be backed by financial support. Even for youth participation in certain areas requires some sort of financial support. Young people coming with innovative ideas sometimes could come with some financial lacking that might not then equip them to take up certain opportunities. So I think funding is also an aspect that we need to strongly look at, but also when funding youth programs or youth solutions. I'll give an example. There's a call for proposal. I'm from a very marginalized area. Maybe I only have one laptop. But then if it's only targeting youth-led organizations or small CBOs, how is that funding phrased? For instance, how extensive am I supposed to go through the concept note writing, the proposal writing? How friendly is it to those who are from those marginalized areas? Or even looking at the educational background. If you say it's open for all and you don't have to be formally registered, the way you structure your funding or the call for proposal, I think it also really matters when it say that this is inclusive for all young people and we want young people to apply. We've had cases where there's this notion that young people do not like to read, and I want to differ and say young people do like to read. Of course, there are a few groups that maybe do not like to read, and that's fair enough, but I think it's also the language that we use when you're addressing young people that can also be a bit discriminatory. So when you're looking at funding, I would say, if you want it to be inclusive and have also all sorts of youth apply for it, make it also youth friendly. Do not tire young people with this matrix and this and this. And I think that's now where the mentorship can then come up. When young people already have these programs, then they can work with already established organizations to support in terms of capacity. This is how you do proposals. This is how you do your reports and whatnot. So I think I'll leave it at that thing.
Thank you very much. Before we go into her second question, I'd like to remind everybody that you can also participate by sending your questions to our online platforms. And those who are watching us online from different parts of the world can also be part of this conversation. Just go to the social media pages, that is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Drop your questions here and we'll be reading them out to our panel in a couple of minutes. Now, her second question before we move to Immaculate is, what lessons from Kenya's democratic past should inform how today's innovators build civic tech solutions?
So I'll start with the last point I had just made, which is the institutional memory. I'll give an example of our constitution as Kenya. I believe there was a lot of consultations before we had the constitution, right? So I think even with technology, there should be that embedded in it. It's not practical to come up with a solution if you do not have the history of the problem. So I think have that institutional memory at the back of your mind. And I think I'll go back to the comment that was made earlier. When you're building something, I think you need to do your due diligence and do research and see, is this already existing? And if it is, how can I improve it instead of reinventing a wheel, or rather replicating something that has already worked? I also want to say that it's important to have be sensitive to different communities and not also build structures that further marginalize a certain group. I think this was already talked about even when we were giving feedback on the different platforms that were created. If you're saying, for instance, that building this app and it's supposed to be inclusive, what happens to a community, for instance, in Kakamega who do not have access to internet? And I like that the teams even had SSD codes that then you can use with whichever phone you have, be it smartphone or a kabambe phone, for a lack of a better word. But then I also want to mention the issue of language. As much as Kenya's national language is Swahili and English, we still do have a big demographic of the country that does not speak either or. I'll tell you, my grandmother's Swahili was really limiting. Like, it was just hi. But if you want to have like a meaningful engagement, or you are creating tech solutions to problems, it should also have that in consideration. I think that is also what Momanyi was saying. If you want to say that you are targeting 5 tribes, then you're already limiting other tribes. So if you're building a tech solution, let it be also inclusive and also just learning from the different movements from Kenya. Our forefathers worked from different communities, co-creating and also leading together. So I think those are the 2 points that I would talk about, just looking at how inclusive it is, but also have some sort of institutional memory embedded into it. If you're targeting the Constitution of Kenya, or you want to improve something, do your research and see how far did we come, where are we now, and how can we improve it. But also see how you can work with the different government agencies to support, so that the tech solution you're building up is not creating a problem, but rather giving a solution to a problem.
Let's give a big round of applause. Now, our next question is to Immaculate, who is joining us online. Her question is, if democracy were a software, what version is Kenya running on now, and what upgrade is urgently needed for the future?
Moderator, as introduced myself earlier, my name is Immaculate Amoit. I'm a gender expert, and I'm also the executive director for WeTech Kenya, based in Western Kenya. I would say Kenya, from the speeches, has a cooperating system, which is our 2010 constitution. And this cooperating system, let's say we can say it's version 2.1 because it has been working very well. We have regular elections as a country. We have participatory approaches. If you look at the devolved functions of government, where I'm also honored as a budget champion at community level and encouraging other young people to actively participate in the budget processes, is that Kenya is functioning, it's operating, but it doesn't mean that this version of software is not operating on 100. It comes with its flaws, which are bugs and viruses. And once bugs and viruses come in, it means the operating system, which is our constitution, the cooperating system, which is our constitution, may crash. And so if you look at Kenya as a software is installed, and there are various installations that are required for us as a country. We have a lot of democratic space, but over the years, the democratic space has been shrinking, considering the history of multi-partyism. The democratic space has really shrunk in as much as young people like myself and as a millennial and the Gen Zs, we've been out in the streets protesting. Yes, we're on the streets. It means we have a really tolerant governance system. But if you look at the witch hunt that came after that and the young people that died, it means that our software needs an upgrade that tolerance should go to another level, and that involves accountability. Yes, there is participation. Participation also comes with responsibility and accountability. And from that point of view, our system needs upgrading. Our system needs strengthening. This includes a free independent judiciary, which it has been for a very long time as per the various ruling, structures and institutions without political interference, which clearly is 50-50. But as a country, I think I can say as a software, we are at 2.1. With a very good cooperating system, which needs fixing here and there through our MPs, through conversations, through dialogues. I remember before the handshake, there was the national dialogue, and there's a suggestion that a dialogue, it's needed actually. And as it's needed, the young people in this room that have presented brilliant ideas should not be left out, because for us to have a functional system that has no bugs, the system must be inclusive. You know, the software must be inclusive. The software must have a lot of consultations even for it to work. So I think for me, from my perspectives, we have a very good software. It needs an upgrade. It needs strengthening here and there. But then we can't just sit on the fence and say it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. Some things are working, some things are not working. It's just that the current system that is there, this current software, the bugs that are there are not allowing diverse voices. And the diverse voices are the voices of the young people we've just listened to, which are very brilliant. And the reason why we are having the bugs and viruses, it's because the traditional political system or the traditional democratic system is not open to receiving the current critical and innovative voice of young people. And I think it's time that this democratic space we are having should welcome the critical thinking and the innovativeness of the young mind that is not tomorrow's leader. From the presentations, you can see young people have potential, young people have the skills to lead. They don't need to be invited to sit on the table. They've created their own tables. So this democratic system or this software should now be merging for an upgrade so that Kenya's democracy works. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. Now, before we go to Immaculate's second question, I'd like to remind you that this is a democratic space. So I'm allowing you to send in your questions one more time before we take what we have. If you've got any questions, suggestions, or comments to make, kindly go to our social media handles and add them to the conversation. You can follow the conversation and the proceedings on YouTube. Leave your comments there and we'll be reading them after we're done with Immaculate's question. Now, your second question, Immaculate, is what does digital trust, that is data privacy, security, and ethical use of technology, mean for the intergenerational collaboration in democracy? I'll ask that one more time. What does digital trust, which includes data privacy, security, and ethical use of technology, mean for intergenerational collaboration in democracy?
I think the moderator is putting me on a spot. But you say these are very democratic space. When it comes to digital trust and ethical technology, one of the speakers, there's a question in the platform where we are speaking of gender technology facilitated GBV. And when you look at technology facilitated gender-based violence, it speaks to the digital security. It speaks to the digital space. And let me, as a gender expert, let me just quickly shift this to how this then affects women participation in politics. As a country, pegging this to my previous question, we have the issue of the 2/3 gender role. Already we have a constitution that has not been fully implemented. And that's when I was talking of a software that needs to be upgraded. As a country, number one, we need to embrace the 2/3 gender role officially and not put up the women issue up to a debate. And on that note, I'm looking at how the digital space and the digital safety looks like for Gen Zs who are activists and who are pro-good governance. Their safety right now is at stake. We've had Gen Zs who've been trailed after social media posts. They've been tracked using certain digital tools, and they've ended up dying. So when you talk of digital safety, as a country, we need to promote digital safety, pegging this on the Data Protection Act that has just been recently passed. Digital safety, I think for me, my experience as a woman and as a young leader would also go to, if right now I want to participate, for example, as governor or as woman rep or MP in my area, you will find that the digital space keeps a lot of data. And the ethical question we should all ask ourselves, with AI, with various tools, the digital tools that are around across the globe, how safe are our women? Because we find that gender-based violence is shifting from the online space to the physical spaces. Case in point, one young woman blogger was attacked in a very public entertainment place. So what does this say of the women who are looking forward to vie for positions politically? It means that their history, their online history, may be used against them during political campaigns. We've seen doxing happening, and the biggest people who suffer when it comes to digital safety and ethical digital tools are women. Most of them, especially when they want to go for positions of power. I'll give an example of Millie Omanga, who has honestly been bullied for a very long time online. You know, for a very long time, we assume women in political positions have a certain cushion. These things affect women. So as a country, we need to promote digital safety. We need to promote ethical engagement of digital tools. For intergenerational conversations and how the old and new, I'll go back to what Eliseba said when he opened this forum. Eliseba said, we have the old system which has the knowledge. Don't like calling it an old system, but a senior system. A senior system, a system that has been there. A system that has not been digitized for a very long time. And then we have a generation that is very tech savvy. We've seen Gen Zs mobilizing on social media. We've seen Gen Zs developing AI tools to track accountability of government, to look at bills in parliament, and honestly, this should not be resisted. For there to be an intergenerational collaboration, as I said earlier, young people have already fixed their own tables. The senior traditional governance system or older democratic system should then look at the strengths and best practices in the innovativeness of young people, and then the young people should tap into the wisdom and knowledge of the older democratic system to strengthen democracy and upgrade the software that is intergenerational collaboration when it comes to matters democracy. Young people, developing a political party, for example, is very expensive, and it requires a lot of resources. The older generation should see we have common values, but as young people, you do not have the resources. Here are the resources for you to have your own political parties and advance the agenda that is democratic, as opposed to just saying, oh, you guys are not in any political party. The reason why most young people, including myself, are not in any political parties is that sometimes we find that the values do not align. We have our own values, we have our own innovativeness as young people, but then the traditional political or democratic system is not willing to embrace the new. So I think from this conversation, the resolution should be, how then do we move forward with the dialogue between both generations that increases digital trust? Because the older system of democracy does not trust the current system of digital tools of the tech-savvy young person. Yet the tech-savvy young person is coming with a lot of solutions to feed into this, our software that is democracy. So I think for me, intergenerational dialogue can work very well. Intergenerational collaboration can work very well, as long as there is accommodativeness. The young people should accommodate the knowledge that the senior people come with, and the senior people should come with a lot of radical and critical thinking and innovativeness that young people are coming with. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. Makofi yake tafadhali. In the essence of time, we've got 3 questions that we put to our panelists. Now, these have come from YouTube, and the message begins as follows. It is a pleasure for me to be part of the discussion. I have 3 questions that I'd like to ask. When we talk about democracy, we often see that different countries interpret it in different ways. Are the speakers referring to how democracy should function specifically in Kenya, or more broadly across Africa? The second question is, following on from that, how you English. So the third question, I'll come back to the second question. What are your thoughts on the uprisings in Nepal? I know we're trying to make sure that we don't keep this political, but let's try steer closer to general democracy instead of keeping it political. The question in full is, what are your thoughts on the uprising in Nepal? Would you consider it an example of a healthy democracy or a flawed one? Now, the second question is, what would you advise a young person from Lesotho about their involvement in participation in democracy, given that Lesotho is a monarchy? I'm not too sure who wants to tackle what question, but feel free to pick any of the questions asked.
Hello. So thank you very much. My first session, I concluded 5 points by sharing my thoughts on how I think government and civil society could create space for the youth ideas to be implanted into policy decision making. The question that you have just, the last 2 questions that you have just asked that we don't want to
venture into
are answered partly by the 5 points that I said. For example, how do you view the youth? Do you still view the youth as the future of democracy? If that is how you view them, that's where you start with the mismatch. because we said that the youth are not the future of democracy, they are the present of democracy. We also said that we need to create avenues, institutionalized avenues for youth ideas to be implanted into policies. And we said that we need youth policy hubs and units in our ministries, youth policy hubs, youth policy units, so that whatever is done is taken into context of the youth mindset also. We have taken a very long time assuming that the youth will wait until we cook. They want to be part of the cook. So I'm building a case for where you didn't want us to go. So do you give them space? Do you listen to them? How do you process their input and thoughts? Then, lastly on this one, when you sit down with them, the feedback you get from them, how do you process it into action? So if your score is 0 on that side, you'll get a boiling pot, which you have closed in. And you know what a boiling pot does once it boils it explodes. So the best way to mitigate that is to realize that this is a convergence of mindset between the older generation and the youth people. There is no competition. We need a lot of experience from the old people. You can't do without that. That's why they say, sometimes they say, what a man can see when he's seated, a young man cannot see hata kama yuko juu ya miti. And we also know that how we used to do our things kitambo. I told you I'm from the Juakali sector. And by the way, the Juakali sector runs back deep up to the Bible eras. They built the Noah's Ark. They made the cross that Jesus was put on. So our skills zilianza kitambo sana. But we need the youth now to come with the CNC machining, to come with the digital drawings, to put our products and services into the komutandao for them to be sold. We need each other. So the moment that one side feels that they don't need the other, things start go south.
Thank you for your answer, Richard.
I'll try to answer the question on how can a young person be involved in democracy if their country is a monarchy, right?
Yes.
From my understanding of a monarchy is it's the person leading the state but not the whole of the government, right? So I think to answer that question is democracy doesn't have to be a big thing that you're in president or something. It can start from your own home, right? It can start from community level, going up to national level. So I think even if your country is a monarchy, it doesn't really deter you from being involved in democratic processes, because I believe there are still those processes that give opportunities to both the older and the younger generation. So my advice, I think the question was, what's your advice to a young person? My advice would be, if you're interested in really participating in the governing system of your country, then try and actively participate in those processes at country level and at the level of which you can contribute. For instance, I would want to give my opinions, for instance, at the AU level, but I'm a Kenyan. Where do I start as a Kenyan? Our Kenya already has a system that is working. We have our governments. Some of them then sit at the AU Heads of State Summit, for instance. I'm just giving examples. So then I can start at my own capacity as an individual. Which areas do I have access to, and which areas can I then contribute my ideas to? So my advice would be, use the systems that are already there that are giving you that opportunity to participate in the democratic processes of your country, even if it is a monarchy. This would be the ruler of your country, but your government still has processes that engages young people, be it public participation or whatnot, or even being in those parties that we were being advised upon. On the issue of Nepal, I would want to plead the fifth. I don't know if it's a functioning democracy or not, but I think from seeing the news and what's going on, I saw even the Prime Minister had to resign. So I would not want to really comment on that, because it is a political issue, as you said.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause. You may now return to your seats. Right now, what we'd like to do is head into the interesting part of the evening, where we go into the awarding of the winning teams. I know it has been Is a time when you start noticing that you had butterflies in your tummy. You start feeling a bit anxious, not knowing what to expect. But in my books, every single person who's come out to present something here today has been a winner. You don't have to be the first one to step up on the stage, because what you've done is set a ball rolling for something that could gain momentum with time. So the questions from the judges, feedback on how you can continue to improve on your different products and platforms. I hope and believe that the end of this hackathon will not be the end of what you're trying to achieve or do, and you'll keep on doing it. So if you kindly allow me a couple of minutes as we wait to get the format. Remember, you can keep the conversation going, keep on following our social media handles, and you can still find all the proceedings from this afternoon that will still be on your YouTube page. You can go back, revisit, look at what happened, and follow the deliberations. So kindly give me a few minutes. Let me find out how we're going to be doing the awards ceremony. But from the teams, do you think the other groups did well? If I could, as we wait for the prize giving, I just want to have every group speak about what they thought the other groups did. One person choose any group, not necessarily yours. You can comment on any other group but yours. So.
Good afternoon. My name is Mainge. I was very impressed with Team Kweli. That's team 2. Yeah, their presentation was very on point. It was very detailed, and they had really thought throughout their plan. So congrats to Team Kweli.
Vote-wise?
Hi everyone. My opinion, if I can say, is that every one of us kind of just chimes into another. Some of us are dealing with one specific group, another is dealing with another group. So if others are really focused on marginalized communities, as we were very convinced, since the youth are such a large voting bloc, how do we reach them as easy and just integrate them into learning and wanting to? And we see you guys have fact checking. The information we give needs to be fact checked, right? To see if it's right. You are Team Kweli, making sure that the information gets to the marginalized communities. Team CIFA, ensuring that the data that is in our, let's say for example, like I'm just giving an example, in our system is actually put out there. You see, each and every one, and Team Ubuntu, Team Ubuntu, being able to see the youth that have learned from our platform, sharing it out with other people to bring peace and some need something like cohesion, whatever, I don't know what the word is. So there's a cohesion among them, and you're able to put that as a hall of fame so that they can also feel good that I'm part of a solution. You see, we are not just competing. It's not a competition, really. What we're doing is seeing how we can make democracy viewed in different spaces, but there's a solution that can still be gotten out of it in the different spaces democracy is getting into. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Quickly from Team Ubuntu, and then Kweli, and then Sifa.
I think I was.
Just bring it closer to you.
I think I was very impressed by Team Alpha for their USSD product, for its universality and accessibility, and making sure that even the marginalized and those people coming from low connectivity areas have access to what we are doing.
Thank you very much. Team Kweli.
Hello everyone. Mine is to thank everyone, and I think it's been a challenge coming here, and it's just more than courage to come here and present what is in your mind as an idea. Very many people are sitting there with so many brilliant ideas, but they don't have the courage to come here and present them. Mine is to give a big up to each and every one of you for the solutions we have as a team. I think we can create a proper team from here that complements each and every one of us. And I believe and I hope we can meet after this sometime and create a bigger solution for democracy, because democracy is not just a system, it's a culture, and we need to make it work. Yeah.
Makofi yake. I think it was very well put. Now, last but not least, Team Sifa.
I'd like to really see that the ideas that were brought here are really, okay. They're mind blowing. Let me put it that way. That the fact that we've thought through our ideas, we've put time and effort. That is honestly hats down to everyone. So, yeah.
Aye. Thank you very much. Now, the results are out, and if I could kindly have Dr. Wambia from the National Heroes Council to come up to the stage to give the awards. We'll start from if we could also have Mary. Mary, kindly come up to the stage to award our winners for this afternoon. I'll start with the fifth position. Now you're attentive. In fifth position, ladies and gentlemen, with 67%, we've got Team Alpha. Makofi yao tafadhali. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, makofi ya Team Alpha. If you could have somebody kindly remove the seats from the back so we could... Makofi yao tafadhali. Now, what you'd like is for each of the members of the team to go and pick a certificate from so what we'll do is as you receive your certificate, we'll shake your hands with both Daktari and Mary, and then we'll take a photo of you holding your certificates facing the cameras. Makofi ya Eric tafadhali. So the next, this is Brian. Makofi ya Brian Kinuthia. Makofi ya Michelle. And to the team leader, Michael. Congratulations, Team Alpha. For in fourth position with 70.05%, we've got Team Sifa. Makofi yao tafadhali. In the same format, we'll start with receiving of the check for the entire group, and then we'll have each individual pick up their certificate. So the team receives 16,000 Kenyan shillings. We'll now move to this individual certificates for each of the group members. You can hand over the check. Thank you. Makofi ya Trevor. Makofi ya Ashley tafadhali. Makofi ya Sean. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the third position. With 81.5 points, ladies and gentlemen, we have Team Ubuntu. Makofi yao tafadhali. Now, Team Ubuntu is today represented by 2 members. However, remember, it was a team effort of more than 2. Makofi yao. They received 20,000 Kenyan shillings. Somebody to come and collect the check, please. Thank you. Now the individual certificates. Damien, makofi yake tafadhali. Makofi ya Mwangi tafadhali. Thank you very much. In second position with 84 points. Hey, this was a very close one, eh? Judges, eh? I can see you've not had an easy time. Who do you think it is? Groups? In second position with 84 points, ladies and gentlemen, we have Team VoteWise. And the kitty keeps on growing. This team wins themselves 24,000 Kenya shillings. You can face the cameras, hold your check and smile. Thank you very much. We'd like now to proceed to the individual certificates. Makofi ya Abraham tafadhali. Makofi ya Joy. Makofi yake tafadhali. And makofi ya Samuel tafadhali. Ladies and gentlemen, with a whopping 85%, we have the remaining group. Let's all be upstanding and welcome Team Kweli as they come to collect their prize. Team Kweli have won themselves 28,000 Kenyan shillings. They have done a brilliant job. And they are the winners of today's hackathon. Makofi once more. Now we'll move on to the individual certificate awarding. Makofi ya Dorcas. Sorry. I don't think they got captured the photo. Dorcas, if you don't mind coming back. So you can finish for Yvonne. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you can give back the certificate and receive it. Makofi once more for Dorcas. Thank you very much. Kelvin from Team Kweli. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for John from Team Kweli. If you could have Mary kindly stay on the stage, please. Yes. Even us guys have got some tricks under our sleeves for you. So we've got some goodies that we'd like to share with our panelists that would like you to award. Yes. So if we could kindly have our panelists kindly step up and receive the awards. It's just a token of appreciation from the Nuru Trust Network. Makofi yenu tafadhali. Asante sana Richard. Makofi ya Diana tafadhali. Asante sana. Now, we hold our keynote speakers very highly, so we have something for Daktari also. Kindly come up to the stage. Makofi ya Daktari tafadhali. Thank you. Asante sana. And because we are, Mary, wait. We are very grateful for the leadership that has been offered to make this event a success. The coordination and ensuring every single thing has gone smoothly. To you, Mary, we have something for you too. Makofi ya Mary tafadhali. Makofi ya Mary and the team. Now, if you follow us on social media, you'll be able to find all the details of every single deliberation that we've had here this afternoon. We've got the entire proceedings that has been recorded on YouTube. So if you follow our pages, you'll be able to find out more information and just review what we have put out. I'm sure that we'll be able to get a lot of the information that has been shared online also. From now, what we'd like to do is move on to the closing remarks by Kevin Waigwa from Nuru Trust Network. Makofi ya Kevin as he comes through.
So, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening again. To the teams, asanteni sana for the brilliant job that you've done. Even from the comments we're getting online. People are participating. We've gotten comments from a guy in Malaysia, the one who sent the question about Nepal. Yeah, so people are actually picking interest in some of these things. It's amazing that we can find a nexus between IT and democracy. Ama siasa, right? You all agree this was one creative event, right? Sindo? Yeah. Thanks to Madam Mary. Thanks to the whole team that we worked with. But I'll go ahead and read a 2-paragraph speech I prepared. Kizungu nilisaidiwa na ChatGPT. I'm kidding. A huge thank you to everyone who helped make this Code for Democracy event a success. We are enormously grateful to our brilliant speakers and moderator for their insights, to the Nuru Trust team, for their hard work, and to our partners at the Global Democracy Coalition for making this hackathon possible. To every guest who joined us, thank you for your presence. And I'll mention some names. I won't mention the names of persons, but the institutions that have been represented here. National Heroes Council of Kenya, Youth for SDGs Kenya, Chingfei Changsha, it's a Chinese organization, Save the Children International, Geruto Environmental Conservation, Netherlands Institute of Democracy, Horn of Africa Youth Network, Kenya National Heroes Council, Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, Nairobi Metro Club, the YMCA, they are the guys hosting us, Communications and Media, Indigenous Friends of the Mau Forest, the Art Glamour Foundation, Absa Bank, FIDA Kenya, Global Peace Foundation, Kenya Youth Senate, and Gakunju and Co. Advocates. Most of all, a special thanks to our fantastic young innovators again for taking up this challenge and putting your best foot forward. Your powerful ideas and passion for a fairer, more inclusive future are the entire reason we are here. This isn't the end, but a proper beginning. We live inspired by the solutions you've built and committed to supporting your vital work. Thank you all, and thank you everyone for your presence today. Asante.
We've come to the close of our deliberation for this afternoon. Thank you very much for being part of this event. Remember, you can always share your feedback through the social media handles that you've been given. Better still, would like to continue this conversation. Continue it online. Don't let that spirit die. Keep on pushing, because you're the leaders. Remember that tomorrow you always told about, it is today. Take hold of it and run with it. Thank you very much, and now you can continue networking and leave at your pleasure. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Having kept you for a while, we know that some of your sugar levels could be low. There are refreshments that have been provided outside, so kindly grab yourself something to drink, something to eat before you leave. Thank you very much.
I just would like to say something, please. As we are closing, I have just borrowed the mic to say the last prayers. If you would stand. If we would stand.
What would like to do, we started off with a prayer. If I could have just 2 more minutes of your time for us to finish with a prayer. We have a lot to be thankful for, and with thanks, we give thanks to the Lord. Thank you.
Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we give you thanks for this event, the success of it, from those who thought about the ideas, even for the youth, Jehovah God Almighty, who we are, Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, praying that they will take their rightful positions. We are praying that Jehovah God Almighty, there was no winner here. Everyone, Jehovah God Almighty, came out with something. They are going to innovate more, and you're going to give them, Jehovah God Almighty, knowledge beyond what they have shown us today. May they go and innovate more, and more so may peace reign in our nation, Jehovah God Almighty. And even for the organization that are represented here, we say that we need peace. We are praying, Father in the mighty, for democracy to flourish in our country, and more so that each one of us may become a crusader of peace. Father, we thank you, we honor you for a beautiful day. Amen.
Asante sana Peter.